Motorcyclist kicks dogs for fun, unaware that Sylvester Stallone is the owner. On a Sunday afternoon in Los Angeles, the golden glow characteristic of the Californian summer filled the air. A man with a commanding presence, reminiscent of Sylvester, Stallone's strength and charisma, strolled calmly along Sunset Boulevard with his wife and his two inseparable companions, a pair of small, adorable dogs who were practically their children. He had that kind of presence that could not be ignored. Tall, strong, with striking features that recalled the old action movie heroes. But his true strength lay in his penetrating gaze and his ability to assess situations within seconds. Years dedicated to business and martial arts had shaped not only his physique, but more importantly, his character. His wife, an elegant and determined woman, perfectly complemented her husband. As they walked toward the local gas station to buy some batteries, the couple discussed their plans for the future, their steps synchronized by years of companionship. "The neighborhood is so quiet today," she commented as the dogs ran ahead, their retractable leashes allowing them to explore every nook and cranny of the path. The man smiled, affectionately squeezing his wife's hand. After years of marriage, they had developed that silent understanding that needed no words. However, that peaceful afternoon was about to take an unexpected turn. The roar of motorcycles shattered the tranquility of the moment. A group of 5 bikers abruptly parked near the gas station, their gleaming Harley-Davidsons contrasting with the intimidating look of their riders. The apparent leader of the group, a burly man wearing a black leather jacket adorned with emblems from what appeared to be a local motorcycle club, immediately fixed his gaze on the couple and their dogs. "Well, what do we have here?" mocked one of the bikers, a young man covered in tattoos on his arms. "Who let these little lapdogs into our territory?" Instinctively, the wife pulled the dogs closer, while the man maintained his calm yet alert posture. Years of experience in tense situations had taught him that true strength lies in self-control. "Let's just keep walking," he said calmly, his deep voice carrying a natural authority. "We don't want any trouble." But the bikers seemed to have other plans. They surrounded the couple, their mocking laughter echoing throughout the nearly empty gas station parking lot. An elderly lady nearby, filling her car's tank, watched the scene with visible apprehension. "Hey, Grandma, why don't you go home and knit?" shouted another biker, causing the elderly woman to shrink back in fear. It was at that moment that the man felt that familiar shift within him, the protective instinct that had always guided him during the crucial moments of his life. It was no longer just about him and his wife. It was about defending those who could not defend themselves. "This isn't necessary," he said, his voice now carrying an authoritative tone that made the bikers hesitate for a moment. "The lady is just refueling her car like any other customer." The group's leader stepped forward, his malicious smile revealing nicotine-stained teeth. "And who do you think you are to tell us what's necessary or not?" Tension hung, palpably in the air. The wife gripped the dog's leashes tightly as they growled softly, sensing the hostility. A few meters away, a gas station attendant watched nervously, his finger hovering over the phone, ready to call for help if needed. "Let's go inside the store," he murmured to his wife, guiding her toward the convenience store. But the bikers quickly blocked their path. "We don't allow dogs here," declared the leader, obviously lying since a pet-friendly sticker was clearly visible on the store's door. The man kept his composure, though his muscles tensed, ready to react if necessary. "Actually, the store is pet-friendly. It's right there on the sticker." One of the bikers, apparently the most impulsive of the group, suddenly lunged toward the wife, trying to grab the dog's leashes. That would be his first and last mistake. In a fluid motion, revealing years of martial arts training, the man intercepted the aggressor's arm before he could lay a hand on his wife or the dogs. With a precise twist, he immobilized the biker against the wall of the store, keeping him under control without using excessive force. "Don't touch my family," he said, his calm tone making his words even more intimidating. The other bikers, surprised by the speed and efficiency of his action, instinctively backed off. However, the leader of the group did not seem willing to accept the humiliation of one of his own. "You have no idea who you're messing with, friend," This territory is ours." The wife, showing the same courage as her husband, stood firmly by his side. One of the little dogs seized a moment of distraction and bit the leather boot of the immobilized biker, provoking a furious outburst of curses from him. "That little lapdog just attacked my Italian boot," he shouted, trying to free himself from the firm grip that held him in place. It was at that moment that a new voice joined the commotion. "What's going on here?" A tall man with graying hair and a posture exuding natural authority approached the group. His leather jacket, different from the others, bore a badge identifying him as the president of the local motorcycle club. The leader visibly tensed. "We weren't expecting you here." "Clearly," the president replied coolly, his eyes assessing the scene. "You are tarnishing everything that motorcyclists stand for. We do not intimidate families or the elderly." The man slowly released the aggressor he had been holding, but remained alert. The club president approached him, extending his hand, in a gesture of peace. "I apologize for the behavior of these guys. They are a faction that has been causing problems for some time," explained the president. "Actually, I was on my way here precisely to confront them about some complaints we received." The dynamics of the situation changed completely. The bikers, now clearly uncomfortable with the president's presence, began to retreat toward their motorcycles. But the leader had one final card to play. "How about we settle this like men?" he proposed with a malicious smile. "Tonight, at the abandoned club, we bring our best riders, you bring your courage, and your little dogs. Let's see who really runs this neighborhood." The wife tightened her grip on her husband's arm, worried. "We don't need to prove anything to them, dear." The club president intervened again. "That's enough. You've already caused enough trouble for today." But the man, surprising, everyone stepped forward. "What time?" "Midnight," replied the group's leader, clearly satisfied. "Don't be late if you dare to show up." As the bikers departed, the club president pulled the man aside. "You don't have to do this. Those guys are a problem, but I can deal with them through the proper channels." The man smiled, the confident smile his wife knew so well. "Sometimes we have to face certain situations head-on to solve bigger problems." His wife, still holding the dogs that were now calmer, stepped closer. "What are you planning?" "Trust me," he replied, gently kissing her forehead. "There's something bigger happening here and we need to find out what it is." The club president observed the couple for a moment, a thoughtful expression on his wrinkled face. "You're not just an ordinary man, are you? Let's just say I have experience handling complicated situations," he answered enigmatically. "And something tells me that this group is involved in much more than just intimidating pedestrians." The sun began to set over the Los Angeles horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange. As the couple finally entered the convenience store to buy the batteries that had originally brought them there, a new story was about to unfold. A story that would go far beyond a simple confrontation between a man and a group of unruly bikers. The couple returned home with the little dogs, carrying not only the batteries they had set out to purchase, but also the weight of an important decision. The man, with years of experience handling tense situations, knew that there was something larger behind the behavior of that group of bikers. "I'm going to investigate this club a bit," he said to his wife as he sat in his favorite armchair. The dogs comfortably settled at his feet. His voice maintained that characteristic calm even in moments of tension. "There's something strange about the way they act in the neighborhood." His wife, preparing a cup of tea in the adjacent kitchen, expressed her concern. "I'm afraid of what might happen at that meeting. Those men don't seem trustworthy." "That's exactly why I need to go," he replied, his gaze fixed on the window overlooking the quiet street. "If we don't confront this situation now, they'll keep intimidating other people, other animals." With the determination that characterized him, he began making some calls. Years of successful business had provided him with a valuable network of contacts, and in less than an hour, he had significant information about the motorcycle club and its history in the region. He discovered that the club's president was a respected man in the community, known for organizing charitable events and for maintaining a strict policy against any type of violence or intimidation. The dissident group, however, had recently emerged. causing problems not only for the residents but also for the reputation of the club itself. As the afternoon progressed, the man decided to pay a visit to the official motorcycle club. He headed to the location, a spacious, renovated warehouse that served as the club's headquarters, where he found an atmosphere surprisingly welcoming. Well-maintained leather sofas, old photographs on the walls, and trophies from past competitions created an ambiance that mixed nostalgia with respect. The club president received him with a serious expression. "I was expecting you," he said, gesturing toward a chair. "We need to talk about what is really going on." It was then that the true story began to unfold. The dissident group wasn't just causing random trouble, they were systematically intimidating residents and local business owners, especially those who walked with their pets. The goal: to force the closure of pet-friendly establishments and pressure pet owners to move out of the area. "They have a vested interest in real estate in the area," explained the president, his voice laden with concern. "They want to gentrify the neighborhood, make it more exclusive, without the presence of animals on the streets and in businesses." The man listened intently, his suspicions confirmed. It wasn't just about a group of arrogant bikers, it was about greed, power, and the destruction of a community built on love and respect for animals. "The challenge tonight," continued the president, "is not about a motorcycle race or a display of brute force. They're probably planning something to further intimidate the residents, using you as an example." "Then let's use that to our advantage," replied the man, his determined gaze reflecting years of experience in turning adverse situations into opportunities. "If they want a show, we'll give them one they'll never forget." As the sun set, casting long shadows through the club's windows, the two men began to formulate a plan. It wouldn't be a display of violence or brute strength, but rather an intelligent strategy to expose the dissident group's true intentions and protect the community that both of them, in their own way, had sworn to defend. Back at home, the man found his wife sitting in the garden, playing with the dogs. When she saw him, she immediately noticed something had changed, a new purpose in his eyes, an even stronger determination than usual. "Did you find something out?" she asked, well acquainted with that expression. "I found out that tonight isn't just about us or our dogs," he replied, sitting beside her. "It's about an entire community that needs help." The little dogs, sensing the seriousness of the moment, gathered around the couple, as if understanding that they were part of something bigger. The man gently stroked their heads, a soft smile emerging on his striking face. "Tonight," he said, "we're going to show that true strength isn't in intimidation, but in the unity of people standing up for what's right." As night approached, the plan began to take shape. The man, his wife, and their inseparable canine companions wouldn't be alone at the meeting. The official club president had discreetly mobilized his most trusted members, positioning them strategically around the designated area. "Remember," he told his wife as they prepared to leave, "tonight isn't about confrontation, it's about exposing the truth." The meeting spot was an old industrial warehouse, its metal walls reflecting the silvery light of the moon. When the couple arrived punctually at midnight, they found the dissident group already waiting, their motorcycles forming an intimidating semicircle. "So you actually had the guts to show up," taunted the group's leader, his arrogant smile barely concealing his surprise at the couple's presence. The man calmly stepped out of his car, helping his wife and the dogs out as, well, his presence exuded a quiet confidence that made some of the bikers shift uncomfortably in their positions. "The challenge," announced the group leader, "is simple, an obstacle race, your little dogs against our bikes. If you lose, you'll never set foot in this neighborhood again." It was then that the man allowed a slight smile to appear on his face. "Before we start," he said, his voice echoing through the warehouse, "how about we discuss the real reason behind all of this?" The group leader frowned, his arrogance giving way to a hint of concern. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about your plan for the neighborhood," the man replied, stepping forward. "About how you've been intimidating residents and business owners, especially those with pets, all to force property devaluation." A murmur of surprise ran through the group of bikers. Clearly not everyone was aware of their leader's full plan. "And that's not all," the man continued, his voice now carrying an authority that commanded attention. "You've been using the name of a respected motorcycle club to cover up your activities." At that moment, the warehouse lights snapped on fully, revealing not only the official club members strategically positioned around, but also several neighborhood residents who had been victims of the group's intimidation. The official club president stepped forward, flanked by other respected community members. "It's over," he said to the dissident group's leader. "We have all the evidence of your activities, including documents showing your involvement with real estate speculators." The couple's little dogs, as if sensing the shift in the atmosphere, remained alert but calm by their owners' sides. One even wagged its tail, as if knowing that justice was being served. "You have two options," said the man, his voice maintaining that characteristic calm. "You can leave the neighborhood peacefully, abandoning your plans of intimidation, or you can face the legal consequences of your actions. The choice is yours." The group's leader, now cornered and abandoned by some of his own men who were beginning to withdraw, realized that he had completely underestimated his opponent. He wasn't dealing with just a man and his dogs, but with someone who had turned a simple provocation into an opportunity to defend an entire community. "This isn't over," he threatened, though his voice no longer carried the confidence it once did. "On the contrary," the man replied, "it's over right now, and in the best possible way, without violence, only with the truth coming to light." The wife, who had watched everything with a mix of pride and relief, stepped closer to her husband, the dogs faithfully following. Together, they had not only faced a personal threat, but had helped protect something much larger, the right of a community to live in peace with their beloved pets. Dawn in Los Angeles brought a different atmosphere. The man watched the sunrise. From his porch, the two small dogs sleeping serenely at his feet, while his wife approached with two steaming cups of coffee. The events of the previous night still echoed in their minds, but now with a sense of accomplishment. "You knew from the start there was something bigger at play, didn't you?" she asked, handing him one of the cups. Her eyes revealed a mixture of admiration and understanding. "People like those usually have motives beyond mere intimidation," he replied, his deep voice carrying the experience of years of observing human nature. "But I never imagined we'd uncover such an elaborate conspiracy." The motorcycle club president had called earlier, informing them that the news was already spreading throughout the community. The dissident group, exposed for their true intentions, had completely lost their power of intimidation. Several members, upon discovering the real plan behind their leader's actions, decided to break away from the group. "The most important thing," the man continued, stroking one of the dogs that had just woken up, "is that people no longer have to be afraid to walk with their pets around the neighborhood." That morning, as if to confirm his words, the neighborhood streets came alive with new energy. Entire families went out walking with their pets, elderly residents strolled peacefully with their canine companions, and pet-friendly shops proudly displayed their welcome stickers for animals. The couple decided to take their own morning walk, returning to the same gas station where it had all begun. The elderly lady who had been intimidated the previous day was there, this time accompanied by a small poodle. "Thank you," she said upon seeing them, her eyes shining with gratitude. "I heard what you did for all of us." The man only smiled, a serene smile that carried as much strength as gentleness. His wife, sensing the moment, squeezed his hand a little tighter, and the little dogs wagged their tails as if understanding the importance of that encounter. Later that day, more stories began to emerge. Local business owners revealed how they had been pressured to remove their pet-friendly stickers. Residents shared experiences of intimidation they had suffered. Every account confirmed that the couple's actions had dismantled not only a group of ill-intentioned bikers, but a true network of manipulation and coercion. The official motorcycle club president organized a community meeting later that afternoon. The club's hall, once viewed with apprehension by some residents, transformed into a space of celebration and unity. People and their pets were welcomed warmly, symbolizing a new era of integration in the community. "This club has always been about family, respect, and community," declared the president, his voice carrying genuine pride. "And today, thanks to the courage of one couple and their loyal, four-legged companions, we can reaffirm those values." Even though the man was usually discreet, he couldn't help but smile upon witnessing the transformation that a simple walk to a gas station had triggered. His little dogs, now true local heroes, received affection and attention from everyone present. "You know," he said to his wife as they watched the gathered community, "sometimes the biggest changes begin with the smallest gestures of courage." She nodded, understanding perfectly, and sometimes all it takes is someone willing to stand up for what's right. As the sun set once again over Los Angeles, the couple returned home with their inseparable canine companions. The neighborhood they passed through now felt different, not because of physical changes, but because of the transformed spirit of its community. The little dogs, exhausted yet happy after a day filled with activity, quickly fell asleep in their favorite spots in the house. The man watching them reflected on how the greatest victories don't always come through physical confrontations, but through the courage to fight injustice with intelligence and determination. The experience had proven that true strength isn't in the size of one's muscles or the capacity to intimidate, but in the courage to stand up for what's right and in the ability to unite people for a greater cause. For a man who embodied the toughness and charisma of an action hero, this had been his greatest achievement, not because he had won a fight, but because he had turned a conflict into an opportunity for positive change for an entire community.